Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Kat, and today I am going to show you my pages for my new bullet journal for the second half of 2022. This video is going to be a bit different from my other ones because I'm not really going to set up my pages with you. They are already done. I did everything off camera, but I'm going to talk about bullet journaling and how to start one, how to create themes, what pages to include, how to feel about it, because I've been busy lately and I didn't really want it to make a full video just making basically the same pages in my new bullet journal that I did in this one. And if you're wondering what pages I did for the first 6 months of 2022, I have the video linked here and in the description below. And instead, in this video, I'm going to basically show you my bullet journal process throughout this journey and tips and tricks of how to bujo hopefully help you with your bullet journal, because yesterday I actually asked you on my Instagram if you had any struggles with bullet journaling, if you were struggling with specific things, what was hard for you in regards of bullet journaling, if you had any questions, stuff like that. And so I thought I would address everything in this video while doing a flip through of my new bullet journal. So first of all, I just wanted to mention that the notebooks that I used are from Notebook Therapy. You don't really need a Notebook Therapy notebook to do bullet journal with. Let's just start right off the bat with that. Materials. You don't need a fancy, expensive notebook to do bullet journal on. And if you watched my 2017 and 2018 bullet journal flip through, which is also going to be linked in the description, you know that my first bullet journal, it was this Moleskine notebook because I wanted a notebook with dots, so that is why I chose this one. And I guess that my first advice for this video is that you should start with smaller and cheaper things and work your way up to the more expensive ones, finding what works for you in the process. My only request for my first bullet journal was for it to have dots, and then my second bullet journal was a Leuchtturm, and I think I used 2 Leuchtturms in my whole bullet journal journey. And when those notebooks were not really working for me because I wanted thicker pages, I went to a Scribbles That Matter one, and I used that for a long time and it worked for me. However, the pages were not really what I wanted. The next notebook that I used was, I believe, a Moleskine similar to this one, but white pages and no dots. And even though I like the minimalistic style of it, I missed the dots because they really help you with creating layouts. So I ditched that Moleskine, and then I used a notebook from Notebook Therapy. That was the first notebook that they released. This was in the original size, and even though I liked the pages and everything about it because the pages are white and thick, the size was not great. So then I eventually moved on to bigger Notebook Therapy notebooks. But I worked my way up from a very cheap notebook into the more expensive ones until I find the one that is really for me, which are these ones. Any A5 Notebook Therapy notebook, because it has thick, white, dotted pages, and I can fit at least 6 months in it. The same thing is for fine liners. So when I first started my bullet journal, I was using a Uniball pen to do everything in it. Then I went and I bought the Pigma Micron pens. I still use these for some spreads, and I used my everyday pen, which is the Pentel Point Liner 0.1. But you absolutely don't need fancy pens to start your bullet journal. Any pen works. And when you start doing more of bullet journal and you experiment with different pens, you can buy the more expensive ones, but that's literally not necessary. Same thing works for washi tapes, same thing works for markers. For my first bullet journal, and you can see more of that in the flip through, if I quickly just do a flip through of it, you will see that I didn't use any markers. The only thing that I was doing was printing images from Pinterest and glue them down on my cover page. But the other pages are extremely simple, and I was also starting to play around with calligraphy, even though I didn't have any calligraphy pens at this time. Extremely simple things, and I'm going to bring this bullet journal later on in the video to talk about themes. But for materials, you don't need anything. If you want some markers to play around in your bullet journal, Crayola Super Tips are your best friends. They are available on Stationery Pal. You also have a coupon code for me. You can do calligraphy with them. They have an immense amount of pens because I believe that you have an 100 pack, even though I only have the 50 pack one. And they are good pens, so you know, you don't really need fancy pens to start bullet journal with. I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'm going to also link some affordable products down below in case you are starting bullet journal and you don't really know what to buy. So now I'm going to show you the flip through of my past 2022 bullet journal, which is in this blue notebook. I used this notebook from January to June, and I'm going to use this one from July to December. And I only fit 6 months in each bullet journal because I use my bullet journal for journaling as well. And I don't really like to fit in 7 months here and 5 here and not have them evenly distributed. So I prefer to have 6 months in each notebook. You can absolutely fit an entire year in this if you want to. For me, it just doesn't work, so that's why I just don't do it. So before I show you the flip through of the pages that I did in my new bullet journal, let's talk about new bullet journals, because some of you may be new to bullet journal, others may have been doing it for a year or so, but you are not really on the same page with your bullet journal. So when you're starting a new bullet journal, you should think about why you're using a bullet journal and what do you use your bullet journal for. So in my case, I use my bullet journal for trackers and journaling and to-do lists. So everything that I keep in my bullet journal is for that. It doesn't really matter if you're doing 30 pages of collections if you're not going to use them. However, if you are a beginner to bujo, I highly recommend you trying different layouts, different pages, see if they work for you, see if you are going to use them or not, and then discard them or add them in your next bullet journal if you want to. If you watch any of my new bullet journal setups, you know that I've been doing a bunch of different pages, a bunch of different layouts, and this is no different. I'm still in the process of learning what works for me, and I can guarantee you that my next bullet journal, it's probably not going to be the same as this one, because this one, even if it's only 6 months after this one, it's not the same. It's really similar, but it's not the same. It's going to take time for you to find your perfect pages in your bullet journal, but you have to try different ones, different layouts, and also consider that maybe that page you're doing in your bullet journal that it's not really working, maybe it's good to move on to a digital one, and I'm also going to cover that in this video. I'm going to show you the pages that I did in this bullet journal and compare them to my past ones and see what worked, what didn't, what I wanted to take out of this bullet journal, why I added new pages, all of that, just because this is the migration process of the bullet journal. And I also have a video about that on my channel, linked down below, in case you want to watch that. So first of all, I'm going to show you the process that I did. And if you watched my June bullet journal setup, I had this page, which is just called Next Bujo, where I brainstormed the pages that I was going to do. So I have here a section for the pages to keep and to add to my bullet journal, and I have here the theme that I wanted to do and some other themes for the upcoming months. This is important because you can see the pages that you did and the pages that you want to add, and what I do is I write them here, and then I take a few days to just understand if I really want these pages, and then if I really want to do them, I actually do them. But as you will see, some of these pages did not make it into my new bullet journal because I just changed my mind. So it's really important to brainstorm, give it a few days to just sink in, and then make the pages. So this is a page that I always include in my old bullet journal when I'm migrating to a new one, because it's important to have this process of transferring pages to make sure that the pages that you're doing are actually what you want to have in your bullet journal. So first of all, in my bullet journal, I don't have a key anymore. You can have a key in your bullet journal if you really want to. Because I know what key I use and because I already know my key for years of using it, I don't keep it in my bullet journal, but this is the key that I use in case you're curious. I keep it pretty simple, no color coding anymore, because the simpler you make your bullet journal, the easier it's going to be for you to use it. So keep it simple, keep it short, and use a key that can function anywhere in your bullet journal. Now let's talk collections of a new bullet journal. This is a page that you see pretty much everywhere in every single bullet journal setup, which is a future log. A future log is just a page for you to have your months of the year, a big overview, and then any events or birthdays or appointments that are coming up. And this is a future log because we are now here but I can see what is coming in the next 5 months. Even though I like this layout, I wasn't really feeling it for my new one, so I actually changed it, and it's pretty similar. But before I share with you my new future log, I wanted to share the cover page that I did. This 2022 new bullet journal cover page is absolutely beautiful. I love this, but keep in mind that this is completely useless. So I'm not going to look at this every single time that I open my bullet journal, but it felt good to just do this off camera and do some art just with myself. I was watching Stranger Things again, the new season, and I just felt like doing this as a little self-care time. And let me tell you, it felt amazing to not film this because I did a couple of mistakes, and you will see that because this mess was awful. And if I had done that on camera while filming, I would have been really stressed out. This is my future log for my new upcoming bullet journal. I really like the simplicity of it. If you don't know me, I love black and minimalistic things, and I knew that I wanted to use black and these washi tapes. And I only did for 6 months because I'm going to have a page right here for future events and future tasks, where I'm going to put the events for the upcoming 6 months that don't fit in my future log. And even though they are pretty similar, they both do the same thing, I really wanted to change from this to this, and that's what I did. So changing layouts instead of removing the page completely is sometimes the solution. The next page is my future events and tasks, and as you can see, I did the exact same pages because if this worked for me once, why not doing it again? And when I started this posting on YouTube type of thing, every month I would change my layouts because I thought I was being repetitive. And I actually don't like to do the same layouts every month, like the same setup for 1 month to the next one. I really don't like that. I have to change a couple of things, but if something is working for you, and even though it's really simple and it's not really creative, if it works for you, do it again. I really enjoy just making the same layout because it worked once, it's going to work again. And in my next bullet journal, if I'm tired of this layout, I can change it. My next page is my year in pixels spread, and the only thing that I changed in this page was the color code because I don't know why, but when I did this bullet journal, I wanted to do everything in blue, except that as you can see, it's kind of hard to tell what days were good and what days were okay. And when I was migrating this into this, I actually had to put little letters on my year in pixel spread to know which colors I was going to transfer into. So yeah, same layout, but a different key, and it works. And that brings me to one of the things that I see a lot of people doing that sometimes is not working for them, but they keep doing them. I was doing a mood track for every single month, I think, in 2020. And in 2021, I just said, well, I don't want to do a mood tracker every single month because it doesn't really bring me any data to work with. I don't really need to know how I felt throughout the month, even though I liked it. But I didn't really need to know. So why not trying a year in pixels spread for next year? And that's exactly what I did. And even though this page is also not extremely informative, I can see clearly what days were bad and were good without having to do this every single month. And it's way easier to track because I just grab a pen and I just fill in the little square instead of having to think about a complex layout that would match the theme. It's just not worth it for me. So I changed it and I did a yearly tracker for my mood, and it works just as fine. So sometimes when something is not working for you on a monthly basis because you really have to repeat that every month or every week, try to just do it yearly. So now moving on into my new bullet journal, I did this big page for memories. I did this page in an old bullet journal. I think it wasn't this one. This is the Scribbles That Matter that I used. Let me check. Yeah, I did it here, my 2019 accomplishments. So I did this page in 2019, and the other day I was just flipping through my bullet journals and I saw this and I was like, maybe I need a memories page or accomplishments or stuff like that, so why not doing it again? So I put it on that page that you saw for my next bujo, and I actually did it, but it's a bit different, it's cleaner, and it's really what I need. You just sometimes need a blank page with a title. And in this page, I'm just going to put any photos, stickers, write things down, whatever happens in the next 6 months. And yeah, you sometimes don't need a fancy layout for things like this. So that's what I did for my memories page. And the last page is actually my to check out page, which is the same page that I did in my past bullet journal. Right here. It's basically the same thing. This is just for me to check out the movies that I want to watch, TV shows, animes, and instead of music, I actually put here random, because there are sometimes random things that I want to check out. Maybe a restaurant with my boyfriend, maybe a store, maybe a museum that we want to check out one day. So I can write them in here, and it's not particularly music. Now, I can also have this page in my Notion, which is where I keep all my dashboards and to-do lists digitally, and I actually have a spread similar to this, but this is just for me to put on the movies that I want to watch, that I just remember that I want to watch. And on Notion, I just keep the TV shows and movies that I want to watch with my boyfriend or alone, or if I have to download the movie, or if it's in theaters, something like that. So that's just another idea for how to start your bullet journal. I'm going to link all of my new bullet journal setups in the description for you to watch. So as you saw, this is all of the pages that I did for my 2022 bullet journal. Another question that I received was if I used my bullet journal every single day. So here we have my January, and as you can see, I have a tracker here for update bujo. It's like half filled, a little bit more than half, but I didn't fill my bullet journal every day. And then I have here February, same thing, a bit worse, I think. I wasn't using my bullet journal every day. Then I have March, it was even worse. I even stopped using my bullet journal at this point. And there's a cat coming in. Hi! My cat wants attention, but I'm going to keep saying what I was saying. In March, I didn't fill out my... I wasn't updating my bullet journal every day, as you can see, and I even stopped using my bullet journal and my trackers because I was hitting burnout, and I just didn't want to use my bullet journal anymore. And then, while in burnout, I did my April pages, and I have here a tracker that you can barely see that says update bujo, and it's completely filled in because in April I said to myself, okay, you're not spending enough time in your bullet journal, you should be checking things out every single day, so make an effort to update your bullet journal every day. And in May, I don't have that tracker anymore because I was so consistent in updating my bullet journal in April every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, that it felt so great and it boosted my productivity a lot. And even though it's not mandatory for you to fill out your bullet journal every single day, it's highly recommended because it really boosts your productivity. And the best example that I have to explain what it did to me was that my progress on tasks and life in general was not synchronized with my bullet journal. So it could be Friday, but I knew what I had to do, but because it was not synchronized with my bullet journal, I had to go back to Wednesday and think, what did I do on Wednesday? Did I do the tasks that I had in my bullet journal to do? Did I do them on Thursday? What am I doing today? And it was so much harder to do that than if I had taken 5 minutes every day to just track things off and to update my weekly spreads. So I highly, highly recommend, and one thing that you can do is this. You create a tracker for July, for example, to use your bullet journal every single day, and you commit to it. This constant updating in your bullet journal, it's so important for your productivity and for you to know what you did and what you have to do. So I highly recommend you create a mini tracker and commit to it for at least 1 month and see how you feel. Okay, my cat is now on the side. I hope this doesn't mess up with the lighting. Stop. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is how to come up with themes. And first of all, I want to mention that themes are completely optional in the bullet journal. If you read the bullet journal method from writer Carol, or if you follow the bullet journal website or the bullet journal official YouTube channel, you will know that they don't really mention themes because themes just make your bullet journal prettier they don't make it easier to use, if that makes sense. I like to do themes in my bullet journal because I'm creative and I really like to just do some art in my bullet journal. But for these pages that I created, you can see that I started with moons and stars, and I did this type of lettering for the number. This is actually stickers, but yeah. And then I did some flowers here, and it's not the same washi tape as this one. And then we have some moons here again. It's not a fixed theme, it's just black and white. But even if I did just flowers everywhere, it would be the same thing as this. It doesn't really help me in any way to bullet journal better. It's just prettier for my eyes, but it's not mandatory. So when you want to create a theme in your bullet journal, you have to really think, is the theme worth it? Do I need a theme in my bullet journal? Can I just do something simple with one color? Why am I procrastinating over a theme? And here's something that I remind myself of every single time that I need to create a theme in my bullet journal. If something is not going to matter in the next 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. And it's the same thing with themes. Every theme that you do in your bullet journal is only worth it for that month. I sometimes procrastinate on my themes, and then I just take a breather, I go outside, and when I come back, I think, do I really need to procrastinate on this? Do I really need to spend some time thinking about this theme? No. So how do I come up with themes? I actually have a video about that I'm going to link here in the cards and in the description. So first of all, one thing that I do is get a color picker and just the 2 colors that came out, do a theme with those. I did this theme, which was green and brown. I did, let me just flip through. I did this theme, which were lemons on blue tiles, because the colors that came out were yellow and blue. I did this theme, which was purple and pink, and I did this because I did this May theme, and I really like the blobs of orange and yellow, but I was really struggling with themes, so I was like, okay, let's not overthink this, and let's just pick 2 random colors and make a theme with those. And that's what I did. And I did 3 themes using that method. So that's something that I highly recommend. The other recommendation is to just use one color. For March, I just used lilac. A little bit of purple washi tape, but I just used lilac. And this is a very minimal theme. I used some lavender, but I think I used like, what, 2 markers for the whole theme? 3 maybe? And it worked out perfect for me. And sometimes just choose a color to make the theme, or 2, and make a theme with that. Something that I did for May, this past month, was I wanted to use a specific collection from Notebook Therapy. They came out with the Bunny Blush collection, and I just did a full theme with those. With the stickers, washi tape, everything. And I created a theme with a collection. So you can use this method for washi tape collections, for journaling collections. You can use a sticker sheet and do a theme around that sticker sheet. You shouldn't be spending a lot of time on your themes because this is not going to matter in 2 or 3 months. So try different styles and stick with one that makes you happy, because I know that for me, I feel extremely happy when I do collage themes like these, but these take a long time to make. But I feel really happy when I do those. However, if I'm doing a minimal theme, like I did this one for January, I'm also really happy because these are simple to make, simple to set up, and the beauty of the minimal aspect to them really makes me happy. So I have these 2 main areas of themes that I like to do, and I either choose one for 1 month and I stick to it. I'm going to leave my Pinterest account down below for you to get some inspiration from it. There's a bunch of inspiration out there, and if you search for bullet journal minimal themes on Pinterest, you're going to have a bunch of inspiration. I really feel like I was really transparent with you, and I mentioned everything that I do in my bullet journal. Of course, that if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, because I will either answer them right there, or I will do a follow-up video to this one, just talking about how I do bullet journal and answering more questions. So some of the things that I just wanted to mention to end this video is to do what you love, because it was the first time in 4 years, I think, 3 years, that I didn't film a bullet journal setup for my new bullet journal. And to be honest, I felt a little bit guilty for not doing this because I knew that it was a video that was not going to come out. You didn't see the whole process, but it felt so good to just do this off camera in a late afternoon and just do this without any pressure to see if my camera was recording, if I was unfocused, if the lighting was good, if I wasn't messing up the dates or the words. It was just stress-free for me. Do the things because you like them and because you love what you want to do, not because of social media, of posting or content or whatever, especially if that's just a hobby that it's not worth it. Remember that consistency is key. So if you try to update your bullet journal every day and you commit to it, you're going to find the best pages for you. And that takes time. It's going to take time for you to find your perfect pages and your perfect layout and what works for you. The same way you find your favorite genre of music, which is by listening to some music and finding out what you like more and discarding other options, bullet journal is the same thing. You really need to just try, see if it works, change the layout, change the page, move it digitally, bring it back to your bullet journal, do all of those things and see what works for you. So that brings us to the end of the video. I really hope that this video has helped you. I literally just spilled all the tea in terms of bullet journaling and in my honest opinion what it is and how I use it. So if you need any other help, make sure to comment down below. I am really grateful that I just took some time to just do this off camera and now explain everything that I do for you guys in this video. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I cannot wait to see what you think about these types of informational videos in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys and happy journaling!